So sorry, I had like some storage issue. I had to clean this up. So what I was saying is, in the moment, these Indian guys, exotic looking or has a super mysterious story and so on and so on. So in the moment, they convert to Orthodox Judaism where they become Jewish. They are Jews. They are Jews. They are not Manasse anymore. They are not Manasse. Now, and this is now, again, so the Bnei Manasseh left Israel more than 27 centuries ago. As part of the 10 tribes, they were separated from the rest of Israel by the Assyrians at the end of the First Temple period, 140 years before the Babylonian exiles. Their ancestors wandered through a huge story, and then they come back, blah, blah, blah. So, So here, the Bnei Manasseh have a strong tradition that they are from the tribe of Manasseh. Okay, also we definitely have a super strong tradition that we are from the tribe of Ephraim. Awesome, all my life. So now, throughout their journey in exile, the Bnei Manasseh continued to practice Judaism just as their ancestors did, including observing the Sabbaths, keeping kosher, celebrating the festivals, and following the laws of family purity. And they continue to nourish the dream of one day returning to the land of their ancestors, the land of Israel. Now, there are no this is not Judaism, it's not Judaism. So to keep the Sabbath was given to in the 10 Commandments to all tribes. So it's not part of Judaism. Yeah. It's so when you keep the Sabbath, you don't follow Judaism, you follow the commandments of Hashem. Yeah. So there are also quite not so many, but Christian denominations who celebrate these feasts because they are the Lord's feast. They are not the Judaism feast. They're not the feasts of the Jewish people. They're the feasts of Hashem. They are feasts of Hashem. Yeah. Now, somewhere it was saying that they basically they were all Christians basically, So, but this is a whole issue that now, that here all our guys, Adam Berkowitz again, the Bible itself anticipates exactly this scenario. The prophet Isaiah declares, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord will set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, that shall remain from Assyria, from Egypt, from Patros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamad, and from the islands of the sea. Isaiah 11:11, and now we will see, this is absolutely awesome, because we have 11:12 and 11:13. The verse speaks of a gathering from distant lands, from places far beyond Israel's immediate neighborhoods. The Bnei Manasseh practicing Christianity until recently. Also they were practicing Christians until recently. Yeah? So while remaining certain Jewish customs. Yeah, this is what for Jewish customs. Yeah, when they were exiled 2,700 years ago, there were not Jewish customs. There were Israel customs, but Israel, because they were kicked out, well, they didn't have any Jewish customs. What? Which ones? Israel, they put up signs, don't go up to Jerusalem. They put up an alternative priesthood. They erected false altars. And they worshipped God not in Jerusalem because this is where the Jews were sitting. So to say now that Manasseh maintained some Jewish customs is like a complete neglectance of history, But this is the whole point on why I did this as Ephraim priest of the order of Melchizedek, to explain you these things, because there are no Jewish people in the Torah. Now, and when we go now to Isaiah 11:11, and it's very sad that So I already put this. We have Black Friday here, and all networks are down. So my internet access is extremely limited here, and it's already LTE. So I'm not able to pull out the verse, but so Isaiah 11, 12 and 13 basically say that, so he will raise a banner for the nations, and then they will gather the exiles of Israel and the scattered people of Judah. Yeah, the scattered people of Judah. Now, so that's here. Yeah. So he will raise a banner. He will raise a banner, and then he brings together the exiles of Israel, Ephraim, yeah, and the scattered people from Judah, here from New York, here from here, indeed, So here we basically had one of our potential future chief rabbis, the Tzfadik chief Rabbi Yehuda Chayak. So he was on this place. So the house of David was on Mount Zion. Okay. So this is what it says then, that he will raise a banner, gather the exiles of Israel, and assembles, put them together, the scattered people of Judah. And then the envy of Ephraim will depart on Judah. Yeah, and Judah will stop harassing Ephraim. Now, it doesn't say anywhere, okay, now Ephraim comes around and converts to Orthodox Judaism. It's of course bullshit. So I prepared here this thing. We really have to say the land, it's about our inheritance, okay? And the inheritance, as we saw here, is fixed. It's fixed. It's already distributed. Yehoshua did it. So you cannot say today, the Jewish people, they are the indigenous people of Samaria. What? Never existed. Never existed. Totally historically wrong. Absolutely false. False. Okay? So no, it was Yehoshua, and everybody knows Yehoshua ben Nun was from Ephraim. So he was not Jewish. He didn't have Ephraim didn't have a Jewish mother. He has an Egyptian mother. So, as a son of Joseph. So, and it's obvious here, it's impossible when you read the Bible, when you read the Torah, how do you want to scratch out Ephraim? So, and this is now the big issue concerning this whole sovereignty thing and so on. So when we are talking about, declares the Sanhedrin, here's the picture from the Sanhedrin flag in front of my banner, okay? So when the Sanhedrin declares sovereignty over all regions of Israel, promised, and then this is Ephraim is included. Ephraim is included. So now you can say, yes, we take some Indians and we convert them to Judaism, to make them Jews, and tell the world they're from Manasse. What? Here, government approves plan to bring India's remaining lost tribe named Manasse back to India. The new immigrants will undergo Orthodox conversion through the chief rabbinate and will mainly settle in Hof HaGalil and other northern communities. Okay, so this is 2005, they accepted this. So 2005, Avi was present. The Nation of Ephraim started under rabbinical supervision. So does Ephraim has to go now through an Orthodox conversion that he proves that he's Ephraim? No, he inherits. So, and this is now the big issue here. So we are currently, so there is currently this main issue. So all America and United States, Israel, and of course the Torah is built on freedom, on individual freedom. Now, currently we are in a world of collectivism, communism, socialism, everything, where the idea is that the whole world belongs to everybody. There is a common home, This is what Esau is saying, that Jerusalem doesn't belong actually to the Jewish people. It doesn't belong to Israel. No, it's an international city. Now, these regions here, of course, they're not Judea and Samaria. No, they are the Palestinian state. And so the Pontifex Maximus currently is the first and only guy who is, accepting Palestine as a state and wants to have a two-state solution. Now, as long as the Jews are saying, yeah, but Samaria belongs to us, the Pope will continue, said, no, it belongs to all. Why? Because Jesus is the Messiah. Yeah. So, and as long as you do not accept Jesus, well, this is the only reason why Jerusalem is holy. Now, in the meantime, we take care of our common home. And it's a completely socialist, Marxist idea. Yeah, collectivism. So in the end, you won't own anything, and then supposedly you are happy. So this is what's currently going on, that there is this two-set idea. So in the Torah, it says clearly, I have installed my king on Zion, on Mount Zion, my holy mountain. I will proclaim the Lord's decree. He said to me, you are my son. That's interesting, my son. Firstborn son of God is Israel and Ephraim. So already David declared that he is called now son of God. You are my son, today I have become your father. Ask me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, the ends of the earth your possession. Think about this. Okay, so this is the promise God made to his son. He says, okay, you are my son now. And when you ask me, I will give you not only this, now all the nations represented in the United Nations, I gave them to you as an inheritance. Now, so it is extremely highly important to understand now that this thing about it's in our inheritance, it's about real estate. It's not about what you believe or who the Messiah is. No. Is the Torah now our testament? And does it say now that we are the owner of this land? Yes or no? Yes, of course it does. No. All the world, they say, yeah, but we believe in Jesus like the Pope does, so we don't have that birthright. Our birthright is in the heaven. Yeah, so this is what Esau basically says. So Esau sold his birthright and basically conquered the world by the sword. And now orders everybody believe, yes, the birthright belongs to Israel. Yes, my twin brother. Correct. But God promised him an heir. So until this heir doesn't show up, the firstborn heir of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So in the meantime, Esau, the twin brother, he says, okay, listen, so I'm here as the representative of Christ, the heir. I hope you understand this, my dear beloved Jewish brethren. So these are now the chief rabbis. These are now the two chief rabbis in 2005 who said, okay, I think it was his father, Meir Lau, okay. Nevertheless, so the chief rabbis of Israel, they clearly said that, okay, yes, we accept everybody in 2005, but you need to go to an Orthodox conversion. You have to become like us. So you cannot be Christian anymore. You cannot believe in Jesus anymore because Jesus is not the Messiah. So you have to become Orthodox Jewish. So this is currently the only option. So in the meantime, Esau, the Pope, the representative of the Jewish Messiah, tells us, so listen guys, we know, so you sent Jesus, the son of David, son of David. So this was the Messiah. And either you now believe in the son of David, or you wait for your Messiah. But nevertheless, we cannot help you. So now this is my line. So I was born on the 25th of May 1967. The church made this beautiful law for. He said, okay, this is the foundation stone. This is the firstborn from the dead. Okay, and it's his birthday. They made a special law. It's my birthright baby. Okay, so short before November 21st, so we just had this, 1965, so we just had 61 years. It says clearly that the Messiah, Christ, is the light to the people. Okay, so now I came then, of course, in the resurrection of the dead with 33, I came, handed out Ariel Sharon, the word from Jerusalem, started to bring out the Torah from Zion, in the year 2000, and hang out here in the Torah.de, of course, is my domain. The Torah is my domain, all right, since 1999, so 26 years ago, so long before the chief rabbis accepted Manasse. So I was already in the center of the International Christian Embassy, on Rachel Imenu, and did my spiel. So, my first daughter was born in Jerusalem the 5th of July, 1999. And my second on the 21st of November, 2004. So this is the 40th year of Lumen Gentium, so dogmatic constitution, when the secret, the big mystery, so who is the firstborn, is exactly 37 years and 180 days old. So because on my birthday Jerusalem wasn't conquered, well, I am indeed, by time, by everything, well, I'm really the firstborn from the dead who came at age 3, Jesus was crucified with 33, what I was already for years and years in Israel with, and then handed with 33, served the Pope, did his website, and then later on in the year, created the word from Jerusalem for the ICEJ and published my first Torah commentary with 33, the age of enlightenment. So now, of course, my 2 kids are born. So now, this is before 2005. So when I came back 2015 and said, listen guys, so I knew exactly what this is the daughter of Zion and the daughter of Jerusalem you read about in Zechariah 9:9. They're the children of Ephraim, not of Jesus. Yeah. So already in March 2005, the nation of Ephraim was declared independent. Yeah. So unfortunately, I had to leave Jerusalem for 7 years, and it was decreed by the watchers. Yeah. So you read this in Daniel 4. So now, for my 47th birthday, because it's predestined before the foundations of the earth, okay, that the heir has to leave with 40. You can read this in Acts 1. There's also in Ramban's Sefer HaGeulah, he's talking about that the guy who prepares the Geulah leaves basically with 40. Yeah, this is what I did. But then he is cut off for 7 years. You read about this in Daniel 4. And because you can read this, it was the expectation that the Messiah leaves with 40. It's declared by the watchers. So they sent the replacement holder on my 47th birthday to Jerusalem, 25th of May 2014, and where he starts the abomination of desolation on the Temple Mount. So you can all check this out, 1,290 days, 1,335 days, and 2,300 days. It will all match up perfectly, So, and then he goes from there, into the United Nations, and basically, this is where, and they build the beast, and they build an image to the beast, and the beast starts talking, and they make him the head over all nations, languages, tribes, and so on. So that's him. That's him. The Antichrist, the beast. The beast. Okay, so that's 47. That's 47. So since 48, I was back and I said, listen, guys, the Jesus story doesn't add up. It's not in the Bible. So now we had J.D. Vance. Yeah? Years later, it's one of the realities that Jews do not believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. Obvious Christians do believe this. Yeah? So yes, Jews, and now think about this. Oh, but this is a big problem. We have an obvious problem here. The Jews do not believe that Jesus is the Messiah. Okay, so, but who? Yeah? So now we see that Rome was founded on the 21st of April, 753 BCE, so 19 years before Ephraim was exiled. Yeah? 734 BCE. So there were two Ephraimite Assyrian wars, so one in 734 and one 722. There were two waves. Okay. Now, because of the absence now of Ephraim from the land, well, the Jewish identity was formed. Now, the Jewish identity today is formed because of this. I mean, all Rome, all Edom, billions of people believe that Jesus is the Messiah, but the Jews, they don't. So that's the only thing the Jews are now worldwide known for. They did not accept the Messiah. So this is why in this age they made an arrangement and said, okay, now, when the Messiah is born, we agree now to celebrate the death of the Lord until he comes. So when he comes, everything has to be given. But before he's able to come, so he has to go to Jerusalem to build a testimony. Because nobody knew who it was. So then he has to leave for 7 years. So because these guys, they had the possibility to pre-calculate this everything, in hundreds of years in advance. Okay, so they prepared this abomination of desolation to push the whole world into one of the two options. So either you are with Edom, you are with all the United Nations, or you are with Israel and the Jewish people. So either you believe something or you do something. That's the only option. Well, I hope today. So because all the world now believes that Jesus is dropping out of thin air, so the only option for the rabbis is to present the heir. He will inherit everything, the whole shebang. Yeah. Now, does the US government know that it's not Jesus? I think they do. Yeah. So this is why they put now all these guys. I mean, he has like a Jerusalem cross tattooed, the Minister of War. Okay. So Effie has already an embassy in Katzrin for years. Everybody should know about this. Okay. So now we have here Itzik, went to Bob. Bob, it's now Bob, it's now Leo. So we see that in all these years, the Jewish-Christian relationship, it's formed by Rome. Rome believes this. Esau believes this. And when Esau says, okay, dear Jews, do you believe in Jesus? No. Okay. When you do not believe in Jesus, you have to continue until your Messiah comes. So when now here is a little sign with my logo, Ephraim standing here, so here it's a potential chief rabbi. We were thought he will become chief rabbi. So the only thing what the potential chief rabbi of Israel has to do now, Yehuda, Chayak, to say, yes, we accept this. We accept Ephraim. It's already done. Okay? So, because the government, they don't know squat. They are bound by international laws. Here, where do I have this here? So the government approves a plan. So why did the government approve the plan? Because the International Christian Embassy, basically pays for the ticket. They don't like Ephraim, but they said, okay, we will, raise money for the Manasse guys and pay their flights. So this is why the government approved this, because some other people pay the bill. And rabbis and whatnot lobbied the government and says, hey, listen, these are the guys from Ephraim you have to take in. Now, in the very moment, the Sanhedrin says, oh my gosh, Ephraim is already here, and he did this already 25 years. Here are the children, he is the owner of Samaria. He is the owner, and everything is said and done. Yeah? We have a solution. We can really inherit. I hope you understand this. This is why I make this video again, Yossi, So, because it's extremely important, it's extremely complicated and very hard to understand. I mean, you need to in history, I urge you to sign up on torahclub.com and sign up for some of our courses, because now the whole Ephraim story, as you can see now in Jerusalem, in the center of the world, is going now for 25 years. 25 years. Now Adam Berkowitz, our neighbor in Katzrin, he was a cook, a chef. He's a cook. So then he switched on, because he was, writing nice stories and whatnot. So he started to work as a journalistic, prophetic journalist. I said, yeah, but Adam, prophetic journalist. So, and when I told him, I said, this I'm Ephraim, he said, no, I don't believe it. Yeah? But now these funny Indian guys who convert to Judaism, you'd believe that they're Ephraim, that they're Manasse. This is ridiculous, okay? So, and I told Adam Berkowitz, okay, so if you don't accept this, okay, so then you basically stick here with all the idol worshippers, so here you with the common hole, so you're with them. You're with them. So these are all the idol worshippers in Jerusalem. They all believe in the Trinity. So, when Adam comes here and tells me, in Katzrin, so no, you're not Ephraim. So if you don't have Ephraim, you don't have a solution. You don't have a solution. That's it. You have to serve the king of Babylon. Okay, it's now Pope Leo, Bob. Okay, but you have to do it. Yeah. So you did not report on this. You did not report on this. So between my birth, 25th of May, 1967, I did everything for 40 years, for 7 years, and now for the last 10 years, okay? So still the guys say, no, listen, yes, it's written everywhere, it's Ephraim. And everybody knows it's Ulf. Everybody knows. The International Christian Embassy knows this, the American government knows this, I send letters to the Israeli government. Of course they know this. This is my claim. So, but what is missing? The recognition from the government. Yeah? Because the government, our little guys, you're Itzik. So Itzik, the government, the Itzik, so he has to serve Bob. Now, Bob. Bob says Jesus coming. So, in expectation that someday the real Messiah comes, I said, okay, we make new Jews, and because to believe as a Christian, it's much easier. You don't have to keep the Torah and so on and so on. So they're basically happy for every person out there they can make into a Jew. Yeah, because then they know, all right, they have nothing to do with this. So it's very important for them. But when you are a Jew, then the whole world knows you did not accept Jesus, and now you have to wait for your Messiah. So the Messiah already did everything. Yeah. So now it's a big issue. Okay. So when is it recognized? So when Itzik here, so he meets also with Dr. Jürgen Bühler from the ICEJ, because they're paying for the Aliyah for Bnei Manasseh. That's the ICEJ is paying them. Yeah. So in the moment, here our super rabbis with Efi pin, with the Nation of Ephraim pin, as soon as the Sanhedrin takes a look, says, so wait a second, these are the children of Ephraim. They are holy. Everybody who is ascribed for living in Jerusalem is holy. It's holy. It's not him is a holy father. I am the holy father. And I told you that the big problem are the guys here, the false prophets in Jerusalem. Dr. Jürgen Bühler, who departed from the Torah and started to believe in the Trinity. Yeah? So it's very important that after Avi now, he is for 2005, he is completely witness of everything what happened. From the Rebbe in New York unto Mount Zion. We are talking about 50 years of testimony of Rabbi Avi Feld. Okay? So he is partner of the Sanhedrin Initiative. All right? So when you guys say, yes, Ephraim is Ephraim, we have him and go to the government, everything will be handed over. Everything will be handed over. Because everything the church does is for the heir, for the inheritance. Now, so how does the Torah says how the land should be held? Well, we should have had a Yom Kippur already like ages and ages and ages. Now the Pope said this year is a holy year. Everybody should return. So everybody agrees basically that in order to have a real redistribution of the land, well, we need a Yom Kippur. I need a Yom Kippur, we need a forgiveness of debt. So I said this, the Torah said this, the Pope said this. So now it's up to you to say, okay, how are we able to go back? Well, we have to perform a Pidyon Ben. Redemption of the firstborn, a Pidyon Ben. Yeah, to say, okay, it's Ulf, we didn't recognize him, he has to clean up some issues, we have to clean this with the Pope, and then we recognize, the Jewish people can recognize that I'm Ephraim, of course I'm Ephraim. I'm the owner, inscribed in the Bible. Yeah, so this is now the spiel, that after the Pope died on the 2787th birthday, 78th birthday of the foundation of Rome, 21st of April 2025, this year. Okay, so Ephraim is the only biblical option that he is indeed the heir. And we will read about him now over the course of the next weeks in our parashot. So this Shabbat, Vayetze, we will read about the dream Jacob had. So Jacob dreamt about one stone where he anointed them. So he anointed one stone. So this is a picture of the anointed Messiah, about the heir, the descendants who on one day will receive the inheritance. Now, according to Genesis 48, it's Ephraim. It's the Melu Haguim. He will be the fullness of the Gentiles, which is also, in line with Yalkut Shimoni on Nach 499. So also various sages of all. Not everybody says it's from David. No, there are only some. No, there are also the sages who say, no, it's Ephraim. Ephraim will be the final Messiah because he is the son of Joseph and holds the birthright. So regardless of what God did with David, he was the ruler. Ephraim belongs the birthright. So after 2,778 years of Rome and 2,730 years of punishment for Ephraim. So Ephraim is back since 1996. So this is now 29 years old. Yeah? So now we only need to recognize this. So Rome, the pontifex is dead. But Ephraim is alive. Now, if you do not accept a person, we have freedom of confession, we have basically freedom of everything. So think about this. You said, listen guys, I'm Ephraim. I said, no, you have to convert to Judaism. I mean, this is what you do not like from the Christians. No, we don't like that Jews convert to Christianity. Okay. So, and why do you force Ephraim to convert to Judaism? What's that? It's nowhere written in the Torah. It's a power play, my dear brothers. It's the same thing. It's the same like all the ages. Oh gosh, the guy has a cool dream. Let's sell him into slavery. So now we are all slaves. Unless we accept that Ephraim is now supervising the Sanhedrin, because we're sitting here in front of a flag. So the reunification of the two opposing places are here basically one day after the burial of the Pope. So now it's up to you what to do. I will take this phone call and we'll see us later.